Welcome everyone, this is your OG, Original Gamer, and this is a Godforge video. Today we'll be providing commentary on the epic announced trailer you've all seen. We're going to be weaving a few storyline ideas for some possible Easter egg lookouts, and we're going to share a fresh take on what the music for this announced trailer could have sounded like. Without further ado, let's play smarter. So we're met with an apocalyptic scene. Total devastation. The mortals, who appear to be losing the fight, seem more like pesky flies than a real threat. An eerie high pitch echoes what was and may never be again. I match the dramatic tone. We have to ask ourselves now, what is order in this world? Is order what seeks to keep the status quo? Stifle progress? Or is it the order that provides stability in times of uncertainty? Is chaos the bad guy? Or is chaos the face of change and upward improvement? Perhaps we are at a time in human history when we are transitioning from one order to another. I want to call out that look. The look he gave there says, I don't even want to be bothered with you. You aren't a threat to me. You're immortal. I'm an immortal. Come on, haven't you read the books? And I point that out to show the distinction, the difference after Gilgamesh smashes the veil. So I just want to point a little bit of a prediction here. So I believe that Ragewood Gaming put out the best theory and has given the best base information for this scene. I do believe it is Morgaine in her crow form. I think that makes a lot of sense. But what I would like to predict or project or to add or to propose is that perhaps this is a love story where Gilgamesh has fallen in love with Morgaine, but Morgaine cannot return to her, human or a form that's better unless he smashes this bowl that she convinces him anyways to do this for her love in some capacity. And it would explain, as you watch, the weight that Gilgamesh feels. He knows that this is a very large action and that this is irreversible and that this is going to have consequences. He doesn't know all of the consequences, but whatever is driving him to do it, to overcome that, has got to be huge. So I'm thinking perhaps maybe he is in love with Morgaine and she has convinced him, tricked him, manipulated him, or simply told him that this needs to happen for them to be able to have their love. That ties into something I'm going to show later as well, but I just wanted to call that point out. And it does tie into Gilgamesh's epic and his, loss of his friend and his desire to, avert death or not have to face his mortality, but he ultimately does. That's the nature of why the epic is so well told over time. Broomhild is looking down at the charred remains of her brethren, right, of a fellow warrior on her side. And she doesn't know what is happening with Gilgamesh right now. She launches a last-ditch attack, a final protective fire, in military terms, an all emotion, low logic survival mechanism attack. And this is very impressive if you consider the fact, as nerdy as this sounds, she is a defender in her class that we know of at this time. And so attack is not her highest stat. She is defense focused. And she launches an attack at a god who has up to this point only been known to be impenetrable and indestructible and even indefatigable, which means relentless and unstopping. I mean, he's just a force of nature. But the timing, and you'll see it here, is what's crazy. And what is that pink glow if not love? He's doing it for love. I don't know. Just a theory. She also is doing this for the love she feels towards her fallen, warriors. Those bonds formed in blood, sweat and tears. She lost that, and that was a love that she couldn't live without, and she throws herself at the enemy almost recklessly, but it works. And then, this is my other big question. Now, I'm looking to you guys, to the community. Who is this? Who do you think this is? I haven't seen anyone. I've watched, I'm pretty sure, all the videos that are out on the announced trailer and everything. I haven't seen anybody mention who they think this is. So I want to start that conversation. Having looked at the known characters we have right now, my guess is that it's Dracula waking up. He's immortal as a vampire, and he feels the shift or the piercing of the veil between the mortal and immortal world, and it wakes him from his eternal slumber. I mean, that makes sense. That's a decent storyline to add in, and kind of a teaser for a different faction as well, because they want to show sort of one or two different things from each faction. You have Aru in Ra, and you have the Asgardians in Broomhild, and so now this is, and Gilgamesh is Eker, and so they're kind of showcasing different factions and one from each faction. So Dracula to me seems like the most worthy of that sort of exposure. I think he's really, people like that character. They want to have him. They wanted to have him in probably from day one. So that's my guess, is Dracula, but I would love to hear what you all think in the comments below. Let me know who you think this is. So that smashes the veil between mortality and immortality. But what does it do? Does it kick off a party? Is it just your mom saying, that's why we can't have nice things? We don't know yet. But Broomhild's spear goes through this god veil and into Ra. Of course, he pulls it out and doesn't look terribly hurt, but he's able to be hurt, which has never been the case before. And now we know who is on which side, right? Ra and Broomhild are against each other. But here's an interesting twist there. Both Ra and Broomhild, according to the information we know and have and believe and trust that's been leaked, both of them are Order Alliance. So it's not an Order and Chaos Alliance situation with this video. But, of course, we've also been told this is not gameplay. So, all of that into account, we don't know if this was a fratricide event, perhaps where they start out as enemies because she believes he's the problem, he believes she's the problem, and then they come to understand after the heat of battle that, oh wait, our goals and priorities are more aligned than we thought, and they evolve. I mean, the song does say in the back, I've only just begun, so we know there's going to be an evolution and an arc and a storyline, and we're only pre-beta. So naturally, we're going to have more questions than we are going to have answers at this point, but I will say these are good questions. These are fun questions to ask. I love the determination that Gilgamesh shows there. He's all in. He's past the point of no return. He is committed. He knows there's no way back. It's unchangeable. and that mortal hubris that, surely this will not backfire and be something I regret. But of course, it's important to remember here, if the mortals are successful, ultimately, if they win, then they'll occupy a world or a space where they have to comfort themselves, protect themselves, solve their own existential problems with no ability to just sort of toss that responsibility to a god or a parental figure on high that can just solve that for them very easily. So it is a era of greater responsibility, if we were to think in Spider-Man terms. But let's finish the video. And of course, the beta is already closed for the first waves, but you can go sign up now at fateless.gg for the next waves, future waves of beta. I would absolutely say get in there and get that done as now, and get into it, because I think this game is going to be really popular. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be around for a while, and really be able to grow and build a proper game that's for gamers, by gamers. I think that is all just really well aligned. So go over there, sign up for the beta, get yourself involved. As I get more established here as a content creator, I'll have some links and things to offer for promos and other things of that nature. But for the moment, I'm just breaking the seal and putting out that first video and getting started, so that we're not held back. And I look forward to it with you. Hopefully you enjoyed sort of my commentary, my thoughts on this, and how it might relate to the game as the beta launches, hopefully here in early July is what we're being told. And then the full game projected end of year, beginning of next year. Of course, very subject to change because there's still a lot of time between now and then, a lot of decisions, a lot of work to be done, and we don't know that for certain. But what we know right now is that beta should be starting around July, and we'll really be able to dial in all of our statistical models and provide you some really keen insights. But until then, we'll be more speculative, and I think that's kind of fun as well. So thanks so much, and we're going to take it over to the second half. All right, so in our second half, we're going to get a deep dive into this rare triple announcement video. First, obviously, announcement being that we just saw an epic Godforge announcement trailer. We all got goosebumps. We all just think that it bodes so well that it shows all these very greenish flags for nothing but more good things from Fateless. The team really seems to be well organized, have the right perspective, the right drive for what they're trying to do. It all looks like it's coming together in a great way. But secondly, this also marks the launch or announcement that Optimized Gaming will be providing content creation and coverage for Godforge. So this is kind of our announcement, like, hey, we're here, that we'll be here providing deep, data-driven and insightful coverage of this game so that players of all levels can play smarter. That's what we're all about. One of our future videos coming out pretty soon here will actually be a deep dive on the current speed meta in Godforge. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm sure, how is there a speed meta? We're not even in beta yet. How can there be a speed meta? But there is data, and we have been analyzing that data and putting together our top 5 favorite champions in terms of the quickest of foot, and this is a game genre that we know is dominated by players with the best speed, because they take more turns, therefore they have higher damage per battle, they have greater chances of landing debuffs and control devices, so speed is really key. So we're going to be putting out a video here pretty soon on the current speed meta and which champions are really pre-built to have great speed. Transitioning a little to talk about myself, your OG. When I was in the Marines, I learned, and this ties into speed as well, I learned that the success of our organization came from the ability to create greater operational momentum or tempo. And this was achieved by optimizing what a fighter pilot in World War I named Boyd called your OODA loop. This is an acronym, as everything is in the military, and it stands for observe, orient, decide, and act. So Boyd, as a fighter pilot, realized that the faster he could observe the enemy and learn from it, understand his position in relation to his enemy, figure out if he has the upper hand or if he's the underdog, the faster he could make decisions and act, and that would be quicker than his opponent. He would have made 2 or 3 decisions and actions for every one that his opponent had made, and that would cause him to win a lot of dogfights. This is fairly similar to speed tuning in Raid Shadow Legends clan boss fights, but the same idea is taught to Marines today. We also use an air-ground approach in the Marines, meaning that we attack in multiple directions with direct fire and indirect fire. The reason that's important is it allows an enemy, if they counter one, let's say they counter direct fires, well, that makes them more vulnerable to indirect fires, and vice versa. And with that, coupled with our planning, that tells us 2 big things: the enemy's critical vulnerability and the enemy's center of gravity. The enemy's center of gravity is what gives it strength, what gives it weight, what makes it difficult and an obstacle to get around. The enemy's critical vulnerability is that key element that allows the center of gravity, the enemy's center of gravity, to be reduced, to take away that enemy's power or strength. That would be the enemy's critical vulnerability. So you're looking for those 2 things when you're going up against the boss or a challenge. What is it? Is it poison? Is it burns? Is it max HP damage? What is that critical vulnerability? And what is the enemy's strength? Is it immune to this or that? So that's how we would look at it from a civil military operational planner's view. And then by attacking the critical vulnerabilities, and this is important, with the correct timing and sequencing, we're able to defeat the enemy, obviously, with adequate firepower to overcome their defenses, but success can be nearly guaranteed. So with that being said, that kind of gives you a little idea of where I come from. But to discuss my gaming background, I am your OG, your original gamer, and just like Steve Jobs, that means I started back at Atari. That's right. I had an Indy 500, I had Pong, I had Frogger, I had a cowboy shootout game. I had a 13-inch TV set up down in the basement with the Atari system, and man, it was fragile. If the wind blew, that thing wouldn't work very well. It was the original, but started at the beginning. I didn't have Nintendo or Super Nintendo, but one Christmas was the best Christmas ever. I was probably 10 or 12 years old. We got a Sega Genesis, still probably one of my favorite systems of all time. And of course, because my 3 younger brothers and I were all hockey players, NHL 96 was a big favorite. If you want the inside scoop on that, take your player, skate along the boards, and when you get to the opponent's zone and you get to the circles, you cut left like an L, take your slap shot right across the slot, and the goalie cannot get across the crease fast enough. You score every time, 30 to 40 goals. If that's not working super great, make sure you have Ally Afridi on your team, because I believe his slap shot speed was 102, which was the hardest in the game. That definitely would get you a goal every time. So there you go, your inside scoop on NHL 96. We loved and played NBA Jam. You know, he's heating up, he's in fuego. We had the college version, College Slam, I think is what it was called, college version of that. Another Sega game that I loved was Altered Beast. You would get these like tokens, and everyone you'd turn from a man gradually into this werewolf, and then you were super powerful. That was a fun game. But my big claim to fame for Sega, I beat Sonic 1. And this is OG speaking here. When you beat a game, Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo, that was a god tier accomplishment. I mean, your friends had mad respect for you. You were considered next level if you beat a game at that level, because there was no easy mode. It was, you beat the game as it's set up, and that's it, and that's what it is. So I definitely enjoyed beating Sonic 1. It was in my hallmark for my gaming career. And actually, around that same time, sports card collecting was a really popular thing for kids my age, and it kind of really opened that collector's style interest in a lot of folks, especially in me. But then I got a PS1, you know, and so Tekken, Metal Gear Solid. I remember Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Oh man, you could link like grinds forever in the right areas of different maps, and like you could put millions of points up. I used to love Tony Hawk. Then we got an N64. This was probably the first system where games began to be beatable. It might have been before it in PS1, but I don't remember. I just remember N64 was like the games where there was novice and, you know, regular, and then like advanced modes or whatever. And I played a lot of sports games, so Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball was a favorite. If you played as Ken Griffey Jr. and you swung at just the right timing, boom, you hit it, automatic home run. Wayne Gretzky's Hockey was a fun one. San Francisco Rush, which was a racing game, was kind of like Demolition Derby, but racing through cities. That was a lot of fun. And then, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention GoldenEye 007. That was like one of my first first-person shooter type games that I interacted with. Now, I never owned GoldenEye 007 because my mom was in the camp that, you know, violent video games were going to make us all violent, crazy criminals. Didn't work out that way exactly, but I never got to own GoldenEye 007, but my friends did. So, of course, I would go over there. They'd be 48 hours of experience in, and I would get smoked because I'd be still trying to figure out which gun does what or where to point or how to move, and they would just smoke me up and down. I remember paintball mode in GoldenEye, and there was all kinds of cheat codes you could put on and fun stuff like that back in the day. But GoldenEye was just a really fun game in that genre. Definitely would lead into my interesting Call of Duty later on. But not to get ahead of us. Then I had a PS2, more Tekken, Madden. Used to have some really fun parties when I was in high school where a bunch of us, 12 of us, would get together at someone's house, and we'd bring splitters and have like a bunch of controllers, and we would play 4-on-4 or 6-on-6 Madden where everyone was player controlled. So that was kind of cool because like you might get to play as like an offensive lineman instead of just the quarterback every time. Very different playing experience, and it was all of us playing together, so that was kind of fun. I played a bunch of NHL games on PS2 as well, and like I said, Gran Turismo. And then this is where it jumps around a little bit in time, but computer games. So first I made this video and I had to go back and re-record it because I was like, oh, when I was a teenager, we got a computer at our house, and I remember playing this game, Backyard Baseball. It must have been the first computer game I played, but it's not. I remember now in third grade, in the computer lab at school with our floppy disks and our green computer screens and the printers with the little holes on the printer paper so it turns it, that kind of old school. We used to go down there in third grade and play Oregon Trail, and we used to play Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, which was like a trivia game, also a show as well. But Oregon Trail was just the original. I mean, you had dysentery, you could drown in the Mississippi River, you had to hunt for your bison or your squirrels or your food, and you had to carry so much food. There was resource management. Very cool, great game. Oregon Trail was my original computer game. But then, yes, later as a teenager, when we had a computer at home, my first game was Backyard Baseball, something like that. My brothers and I would play that. It was kind of like a cartoonish game where you had different characters, Sandlot-style baseball game. A lot of fun on the computer. When I moved to college, I had my own computer, so I played World of Warcraft and Sim City and things like that. But anyways, then Xbox. I had an Xbox. And I had an Xbox because of Call of Duty. I was in the Marines for over 10 years, and Call of Duty and Halo were great games that we would all play together in the barracks or sometimes at work, and it was a great time. And then when I wasn't around those same people, because inevitably in the military you're not going to stay with the same people the whole time all the time, so gaming gave me a way to stay connected with some of those folks. Of course, Facebook had come out there and was a great arena for that, but gaming had a social element to it. We would still, hey, you want to catch up? We want to play a game of COD, and you might catch up with someone you haven't seen in 2 years because you're not stationed in the same place anymore. So a lot of fun. Halo, COD for Xbox, Assassin's Creed, and Tiger Woods were more like Xbox games I played by myself. Like Assassin's Creed is kind of that adventure game, go off, explore areas, do challenges, things like that, but it's very solo. Tiger Woods was a very focused solo sports game. I always like that. And then we moved into mobile. getting on your phone. And Angry Birds, Clash of Clans. I definitely had a clan. And then Candy Crush. I'm still an active Candy Crusher. From my research, there's supposedly like 15,000 levels. I'm pushing for 5K right now. I'm over 4,000 levels in. So yeah, big Candy Crusher. I don't play all the time, but when I play, I can roll through 30, 50 levels at a time. I enjoy it. I'm good at that pattern recognition. So love that. Of course, I play Raid Shadow Legends, have for the last few years. But I never really felt compelled to put out content for it, because I enjoyed the folks that did put out content and that I utilized to learn how to play the game and all that sort of thing. Like folks like Hell Hades, of course, was important with his website and his videos. Ash, Nub Raids, YST, Boozer, Scratch, Cobb, Big Papa Draw, Cole Red, MTG Jedi, Deadwood Jedi, Clan Boss stuff. Those guys were all great and fantastic and helped me a lot in the game. But I never felt like there was a lane or a reason that I should be creating content until I saw Godforge coming out, and then I said, yes, I want to create content for that. That is impassioning, and I like it, and I feel like I have a lane here with my process improvement background and optimization background. So I'm definitely excited for this game and excited to cover it. Lastly, not to bang this drum too loud, but a little bit more about me, my professional background, what I do for a living, because I don't game for a living. I wish, but I'm a consultant. I've been a consultant for many years, started focused on project management, best practices. I was a project management professional back in the day. I then moved to process improvement for business organizations, and now I'm the owner of a consulting firm that specializes in coded and non-coded automations that allow small businesses to compete with the Goliaths by leveraging their time, energy, and money to the highest optimization possible. Not a lot different than what we do in gaming. So that's what I do. Lastly, I'm sure in the future we will have promotional links and everything set up. This is where we would kind of mention those. But this is what I would call a minimum viable product, or an MVP, and we just want to push it out, get the videos out, get the conversation started, get in the mix, and we'll optimize and refine and hone in all of our processes so that all of that is there as well. But for right now, we will stop there.
The world was on fire and no one could save me but you.
Okay, so we find ourselves here at the third part of this video, and as a disclaimer to start, of course, I think Serena Belles' voice is out of this world good, but this world is on fire and no one can save me but you. And so let's say that you're on the Fateless team and it's your job to go out and look for these voices that give the gamer an emotional connection and a reaction, because they're visceral, you can feel them, because they parallel the themes that this game presents. Some things like mortals being on this precipice of the gods, we're invading the heavens commercially even, and that this veil between mortality and immortality is being tested and in some cases pierced. So with that being said, I thought this might be an interesting song for us to just throw in the mix. Lyrically, it has many of the same themes, and stylistically, it also very hauntingly beautiful and emotional. So who knows? Maybe Lou Saint, who we are going to showcase here, maybe Lou Saint will find herself in a future Godforge video. Who knows? Maybe this would have served as a runner-up if you were a Fateless employee looking for this, or maybe if our whole theory about Morgaine the Crow being in love with Gilgamesh, maybe this is the voice for Morgaine, or the song for Morgaine. As the whole smashing of the veil, so they can have their love and be together. Maybe this song makes more sense lyrics-wise. But anyways, let's give it a listen, and I'll provide you my thoughts on the backside.
The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire can make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you, and I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, with you. What a wicked game you play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. Now I don't wanna fall in love. No, on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire can make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like you, and I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you.
What a wicked game we play. What a wicked thing you say. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you. Oh man, that is on point. Anyways, isn't falling in love a battle of chaos and order? Something that asks you to leap from a perfectly good airplane in hopes that your parachute will find you on the fall? Perhaps this incorporation of love, or this theme of love, perhaps it'll make itself more apparent as we get into the beta in early July. But the speculation is juicy, and it's quite fun to see how close some of us, those of us gnawing at our desks for this game to come out, how close we can come at guessing the storytelling direction and the arc that Fateless chooses. Okay, so now we're going to do something silly. We're going to watch the announced trailer for Godforge again, but with different background music using Lusaint's music. Obviously, the runtimes are not even close on this. The announced video is like 1:30. Lusaint's full song is like 3 minutes. But we do know that Serena Belle, from her last time on the podcast, is working on a full-length version of her song from the announced video. So she would, in a sense, have a 3-minute video similar to Lusaint's. But we're going to use Lusaint's for the first 1:30 or so, and I just think it'll be a fun example of how the music changes the optimization, the experience of the game, and just a fun thing to do. So let's give it a shot.
on fire, and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire can make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you, and I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, with you. What a wicked game you play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do, to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a
So obviously, they don't match up in terms of timeline, but just an interesting little way of looking at how the music can change, enhance, optimize that gaming experience. And I think we can all say that Serena Belle was a top-rate choice and did an amazing job. But really cool to see somebody here like Lucent, who I didn't know before doing a little research for this video. Maybe you guys will like her, subscribe to her channel, like her videos. Very interesting voice. Who knows? Maybe we'll see her in Godforge in the future. We shall see. Wow, right? So if Serena Belle looks like she just hopped straight out of the Asgard Norse faction, all I'm saying is that maybe Lucent has Virage covered, and maybe we're looking for a songbird for each faction. It's a noble ambition, at least. But for today, that's going to wrap us up for our first video. And I just want to say, from everyone here at Optimize Gaming, and for me, your OG, I just want to say I'm looking forward to providing this community, Godforge and Fateless community, with free, detailed guidance and data through the beta, through the launch, and beyond. Enjoy yourself, and remember, play smarter.